everybody, this is Mr. Crafty, and today we are doing Goku versus Saitama, the honest truth. And today we have a guest here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, it's your boy Hotshot. I'm happy to be here, happy to be on the ride.
Yeah, thank you for collabing. And well, I already set the topic, and just hold back. Let's just start. So we believe we're going over Saitama first, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're just gonna go over the scaling real quick. So yeah, we're starting off Saitama. So take it away.
Alright guys, I'm going to go over Saitama real quick. So, for Saitama's recent scaling, we're going to go over the recent One Punch Man chapters and stuff that have recently come out. So, we know that Garo became Cosmic Garo, and that God amped him and gave him power, and Garo was saying that he can feel all the flow and energy in the universe. And Garo can actually use a Saitama mode to counter Saitama. And then we see later in the chapters that Saitama is able to clash with Garo, and Garo is able to hold his own with Saitama. And then he uses his gamma ray burst flash, which says that it was the beam that Garo unleashed at Saitama was the strongest thing in the universe, which you could say means a big bang. So this could be a universal feat for Cosmic Garo. Then we see Blast, who's one of the strongest heroes in One Punch Man. So we see Blast shoot his dimensional cannon at Garo, and Garo is just able to maneuver through Blast's dimension. So this could be a infinite speed feat for Cosmic Garo. And then after Blast and Cosmic Garo get to scrapping, Saitama comes back and he's pretty pissed off. I think this is the first time we've seen Saitama actually pissed off. And then right out the gate, Saitama unleashes his serious punch on Garo, and then Garo responds to that amount of power with his Saitama mode, and they clash. And Blast was saying that I gotta teleport these guys off the planet because this clash is too strong. Blast couldn't handle the power that Saitama and Cosmic Garo were shooting at each other. So that's also impressive because Blast's dimensional cannon is supposed to keep you in a dimension, and Cosmic Garo and Saitama just said they're just built different, so that could scale Saitama higher. And then Blast in the next panel says yo, that energy was way too much. And then when Garo and Saitama are teleported from Earth to another planet, Saitama states at the start of his battle he's going at full power, he's not holding back no more. So then Garo shoots a dimensional cannon at him. He's been Garo's shown he's been shown to copy his opponent's attacks and stuff like that. So he uses the dimensional cannon that Blast used on him, and Saitama kicks that away. And then he starts beating up Cosmic Garo, and Garo's he can destroy and grab hyperspace gates, which could mean Saitama is kicking fourth dimensional gates and stuff, because hyperspace does mean more than 3-dimensional. And then Garo's using his the dimension teleportation or whatever Garo's using, and Saitama is just stopping Garo with a finger. And then Saitama is blitzing and destroying Garo, and then Garo tries to use his teleportation technique, and Saitama follows him through the teleportation technique. And then Garo states Saitama is Saitama is hitting harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. So you could say maybe Saitama is amping himself, or you can say when Saitama said, "Yo, I'm going at full power," maybe he kind of meant that, but he really didn't. It's for one's interpretation. And then in the manga chapter, they're talking about how the grid of how the gap between Garo and Saitama is getting much bigger. And then Saitama just beating up Garo, and then after the fight, Garo says to Saitama, "I'm gonna give you his strongest technique that he couldn't master, but he feels Saitama is strong enough to master it." And then this technique sends Saitama backwards in time, Now you could do like you could spin this two ways. You could say maybe since it's like a technique, maybe it's a hack, so how Saitama is able to move through time, or you can say maybe Saitama had to use like his raw speed to unlock that technique. So that could be like inaccessible speed. All of Saitama's abilities and stuff. So I would say like Saitama should be like fourth dimensional because he's able to kick like the hyperspace gates if we're giving him like a lot of the benefit of the doubt. And then speed if we're like being very courteous to Saitama, you can get him to inaccessible to maybe immeasurable if we're really giving him the benefit of the doubt. But that's Saitama's scaling.
Yeah, and something a little note to that. Yeah, we like you're saying, he was like another, I guess, side ability Saitama has is to adapt and get stronger. As we saw, like girls like, oh, I'm gonna die at this rate. Which, in all fairness, he should have just kept on copying. I don't know why he stopped, but it's whatever. But yeah, like with the benefit of the doubt, if we do say like him interacting with the fourth dimensional, hyperspace portals, even like you mentioned how Blast had to redirect them. He actually did have like their energy was too much for the portal, and you could argue that their energy was too much for a fourth dimensional construct. So yeah, with the benefit of the doubt, then you can get like a highball to like scaling of, like you said, Saitama to like that universal plus 4D to like inaccessible, infinite accessible, maybe if you're pushing it at immeasurable speed, if you argue it's his pure speed, not the ability. Like you're saying, like I think it's about we should go over Goku stuff. So Goku, so just using now, let's just go over some basic scaling for Goku. So Goku, well, just in the Battle of Gods, their fight with Beerus, just them kind of boxing, was able to almost destroy and was going to destroy the entire universe and macrocosm, and Goku's base absorbed that power. So one would say, okay, so how big is the Dragon Ball universe, or how big is the macrocosm? Well, it stayed on numerous times. Like I can't even show you how many times, but many times that just the mortal realm is this infinite type place, as well as in some daybook I do remember it was mentioned that it was even the mortal realm was some type of hyperspace. But regardless, many times it's been stated to be this infinite realm, and that could make just the mortal realm this 4D type realm. Now you'd say, okay, so that would be a 4D feat, but you have to remember there's the other dimensions like hell, heaven, afterlife, etc. Now inside the if you want to go into it, it's stated many times inside the data books. Like there's so many times it's been stated that just many times. I don't know even how many scans there are. Like if you could just give like an eyeball, how many scans would you say?
So many, like gotta be over 20-30 scans.
Yeah, there's just so many. Like I'm putting up maybe like you'll see at least 2, but I'm most likely gonna put up like 5 or something, but they're coming up like right now. But just the afterlife or otherworld is this next dimension, this higher plane of existence, this even literally been stated to transcend all dimensions that can be perceived by humans. That's literally their exact words in one of the scans. I'm not making this up. So if you want to try to weave your way saying, oh, them saying it's a higher dimension, the next dimension 20 different times isn't saying it's a higher dimension, yeah, go debate against them literally saying it transcends that. Go ahead. But excluding that could easily make the the other world a 5D realm, and one would say, okay, so like base Goku could be like 5D. You can interpret some things to get that purely higher, but excluding that, you can even just go into that even further, because the fact that the Kaioshin realm, or Kaio realm, whatever you want to say, the realm of the Kais, right, heaven practically, is also stated to be beyond even the afterlife and everything else, and it's just a realm beyond all of that, and just placed, it exists outside of everything else. It's like one of the scans, I believe it was said, and with that would even make it an even higher plane of existence. Or for an example, if you go off base of that, it could be a 6D realm, and depending on how you spin things, you could argue 7D, but at least 6D. And well, base Goku scales to that since his power was absorbed into his base. And if you just go purely based off the tournament of power, which it's even been regarded as just Jiren's and Hit's battle was like an extra dimensional fight. Now you could argue that could mean they're an extra dimensional above what they already are, or that could just be like argued like maybe like you know what I mean, right? Hotshot. Like, you know, that one you can argue, you can interpret that one of two ways.
Yeah, it's a way of interpretation.
But something that is kind of just stated is actually stated by the narrator in the cards that Mastered Ultra Instinct is a transcendent limit break, meaning it's like a transcendent amp, meaning, so basically you could have, just with the scaling we presented, on a lower scale, Goku is anywhere from like 6, 7, or 8D, but he's more country in the like in mid end. You can argue 7D with that stuff, and it's actually very supported by even Koyama, who did say that the Dragon Ball Kai realms are 6D, I believe, right? 7D, right? He said they were 7D. The Kai realm was.
Yeah, he said like hell and heaven. He said we're
7
5 to 6D, but some could be like 70 and stuff like that.
Yeah, so applying that, when he's saying some, we could only logically assume that he should be applying to the highest realm there is, which is the Kaioshin realm, or even just apply to the macrocosm as a whole. That would still, you know, that even Koyama supports this. And just to quickly go over, it's like I did go over this in my one of my other Goku videos. You should probably go check it out. Why Koyama is a reliable source. One, he literally stated before that he cannot type anything, write anything, or post anything without the permission of, one, Akira Toriyama, the author. And before any of y'all say death to the author, which does not apply here, he also goes on and says, and Sueisha, the company. So, you know, you want to say death to the company now? But, you know, it's even stated by, like, the creator of, well, Dragon Ball, that his staff members that help work on the manga, anime, etc., have just as much, if not more, knowledge and credibility than him. So, you know, he's very credible. The fact that it's been stated by, you know, Akira, and as well as Koyama just, like, told everyone, yeah, he asks everyone, like, the author and the license company and, the, you know, just the company as a whole, to make sure, meaning this is supported by even, you know, Akira Toriyama. So in terms of AP, he's solidly in the 7 through potentially 8D, depending on some of the amps you get, and if you want to lowball it, 60. You agree?
Yep, I 100% agree. I think Goku consistently scales to that level.
And just to go into like speed, actually you brought up a really interesting point, so I really did like it. Would you like to go over that one speed thing you brought up?
Oh, okay, the Zamasu thing.
Yeah.
So Zamasu was going to like expand through all the different timelines and all the multiverse and all that. So one could say since his power, and we know that power and speed like correlates in Dragon Ball, so one could say like since Zamasu was going to, like, his power was going to, like, ink through or expand through all the timelines and stuff, you could say he was going to have, like, immeasurable speed, right? Because he was going to move through the timelines and stuff, which is time. So you could scale Goku to that speed.
Pretty casually, too. It's even implied in the manga and anime that if, you know, Goku had a senzu bean, he could have ended it right there. This was like, oh yeah, give me a. If I only I had a sensu, I could have won this. Like he was pretty. Yeah. He was like, he wasn't trying to hype himself out. It was just like he was stating a fact, which actually does make sense because it's Zenkai boost and stuff like that. But like, and just with that feat alone, actually, like you're saying, it's consistent because literally the next arc, the new most powerful villain casually was stated transcend time and space, which would also further grant him in immeasurable speed. So just with that scaling alone, it's pretty consistent. But even if you don't buy that, there are some other feats, like including the fact that, well, one, it's actually been stated that the afterlife the concept of time does not exist. And just as far as Dragon Ball beginning of Z, have people moved in there, but even it's further extrapolated on with, you know, Super Saiyan 3 Goku and how it works, and like, so even just want to argue how like there have been many alive characters that have moved there, like even Kid Buu has moved there, and he's very much alive at that time. And well, you know, so that would be inaccessible speed pretty easily, but you can even argue higher because inside the original Dragon Ball there was something called the Room of Time. Now I'm not entirely sure if this was the room of the hyperbolic time chamber, but Akira Toriyama didn't really have a good name for it, so he's called it that. But as far as you know, they maybe could be the same thing, but they're two different. But still, like that. Now it was stated it contained all of past, present, and future, and it just showed it. And with just base Battle of God Goku being able to even destroy that, all of that would mean and also the other realms transcending that, then that can easily be another inaccessible speed tier. But I think it's a lot better to that stuff can be argued. Well, not immeasurable, but the inaccessible is pretty solid. But the immeasurable thing can be argued against. But the thing you brought up is a lot more concrete, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely more concrete and like getting to the point. Yeah.
I just wanted to say like there's also other immeasurable speed feats you can use, but the one that we mentioned with the infinite Zamasu is a lot more concrete. And before we move on to like our conclusions, just to go over Goku's abilities, he just has ki manipulation, which of course he has the casual beams like the Kamehameha wave. He also can use different intricate moves like the Destructo Disc that can attack and hurt others much higher than you, but it's unspecific, and there's really no point going into how it's not that video. But he also has some type of like resurrection. He can restart his heart to some degree, as well as if we go by manga standards, he has some degree of Hakai, but he does have resistance to Hakai as a whole in both scenarios. Of course, he has flight. He even has some type of precognition in the sense he can predict stuff. And honestly, I'm not too keen on Goku's abilities. I think you know a little bit more. Would you like to if there's anything else, would you like to just say them real quick?
Yeah, I would say like Goku can use like events and transmission.
Oh yeah.
Goku can also adapt like while he fights because he's like a Saiyan. Goku has every color of the rainbow. He can turn Super Saiyan 2, 2 3,
yeah,
God, Blue. He can use Sign and MUI.
And something that you bring about Sign, he can like actually stack Ultra Instinct with his other transformations now, which is pretty interesting.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. And depending on how you interpret that transcendent limit break thing, he's just stacking transcendence on transformations. I don't know. But like anyway, do you so I think that just goes over both characters, so you just want to go into the conclusions real quick.
Yeah, we can go into the conclusions.
So from what I gathered, I think just Goku stomps.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think like Saitama, he's got some feats. He's getting there, man. But I'd say Goku just has more and has shown more of the years.
Yeah, and we were giving Saitama a big benefit of the doubt because consistently they're like multi-solar system, potentially galaxy, maybe multi-galaxy level. It's just that like we were just trying to give him the most benefit of a doubt, and even if we do give him like the immeasurable speed feat, which is most likely implied just to be an ability, then Goku consistently has these also immeasurable speed feats as well. It's just that Goku just stomps is really and like something that's kind of funny actually. Here's my views on this. What if this won't happen because there's no proof to show Saitama can adapt himself above a transcendent, like extra dimensional level, but let's say he could somehow do that, right? Let's just say that, right?
Yeah.
But let's say he goes back in time to go fight, go kill, like for example, baby Goku. Even if he can do that, we don't even know. That actually would have no effect on current Goku, cause how time travel works. If you in the Dragon Ball universe, if you go back in time and kill someone back then, the current Goku would be fine.
Yeah.
And for all those who are gonna say he's a gag character, he's not a gag character. He's actually stated to be like a parody character. But also interesting, Dragon Ball characters have resistances to gags, as shown with Aurelie, Beerus, stuff like that. They just have a passive resistance to that stuff. Even like someone as base Vegeta was able to like understand the logic, and he didn't even have a chance to fight, but he was just even able to understand Toon Force just by being around her, which is pretty cool. And like there's just they have this passive resistance to the degrees of Toon Force. I'm not saying Goku resists Bugs Bunny or something, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm sorry guys, the honest truth is that Goku wins. There's really no way around it.
Um,
And yeah, do you have anything else to say, Hotshot, about this topic?
no, I think we did a good job of covering both characters, and I think we made our point clear that like Goku just stomps.
Yeah. And with that out of the way, why don't you introduce yourself? He was like, this is we collab together. He commented on one of my videos to like do a collab. Want to introduce yourself and tell them who you are?
Oh, guys, I am Hotshot AB, and I do have been scaling for a bit of a minute. I wanted to collab with Mr. Crafty Scales because I just saw one of the videos. I was like, it's a good, informative video. I was like, I just want to hop on and collab. But yeah, I do some scaling of my own. But yeah, that's all about me, though.
Yeah, and just yeah, thank you for joining. You know, hopefully maybe we can do more videos together. Leave a good comment for him on his channel, being the link in the description. Go sub to him. You know, I've checked his content, it's really good. He's a really good Marvel DC scaler, so that's pretty cool. He might be on one of my videos when I have a future Thor video in the working. Anyway, with that out of the way, Mr. Crafty and
Oh, okay, bye bye. Hotshot.
out.